Driving isn't exactly a risk-free activity, but some roads, they take things to a whole new level. Every year, 1.35 million people lose their lives in road accidents, and some of these highways seem determined to add to that number. Sheer cliffs, no guardrails, landslides, extreme weather, you name it, these roads have it. Some of them barely qualify as roads at all. Others look fine until a sharp turn or a sudden drop reminds you why they're infamous. Whether it's collapsing infrastructure or nature doing its worst, these routes demand more than just good driving skills. They demand nerves of steel. So, if you think you've driven on rough roads before, think again. Here are 15 of the most dangerous roads in the world that you should never attempt to drive on. Let's start off this list with number 15, I-45, Texas, United States. Everything's bigger in Texas, including the danger on Interstate 45. Connecting Galveston to Dallas via Houston, this highway is America's deadliest road with a staggering 56.5 crashes per 100 miles. From 2011 and 2015, 83 people lost their lives here, largely due to heavy congestion and reckless driving. Houston's portion of I-45 is particularly notorious, with dense urban traffic, sudden lane merges, and aggressive drivers turning every commute into a gamble. But the biggest killer? Drunk driving. With 17.5 fatalities per 100 miles linked to alcohol-related crashes, the highway is a hotspot for tragic, avoidable accidents. Even lawsuits have been filed against the Texas Department of Transportation, demanding safer conditions. But for now, I-45 remains a high-risk drive, especially during peak hours. If you find yourself on this road, defensive driving isn't just recommended, it's survival. With the wrong move, a routine trip could turn into your last. Number 14, M4, Western Motorway, Australia. Sydney's M4. Western Motorway might not seem terrifying at first glance, but its crash rate tells a different story. Between 2010 and 2014, it recorded 788 crashes, nearly 200 per year. Though the fatality count was low at 6, the sheer number of accidents proves how hazardous this stretch of road can be. Why is it so dangerous? Constant congestion, reckless driving, and high-speed collisions. As one of the busiest roads connecting Sydney's western suburbs to the city, the M4 sees an endless stream of commuters, trucks, and impatient drivers. Sudden lane changes and speeding only make things worse, creating an ideal recipe for crashes. Authorities have launched safety campaigns and infrastructure upgrades, but the motorway's accident rate remains alarmingly high. For those navigating the M4, caution is key. The risk isn't in dramatic cliffside drops or extreme weather, it's in the everyday chaos of city driving, where one bad decision can lead to disaster. Number 13, Karakoram Highway, Pakistan, China. At 15,400 feet above sea level, it is the highest paved international road in the world, and one of the most deadly. Stretching from Pakistan to China, this 800-mile route took over 2 decades to build, and the process was so bad that 82 workers lost their lives, mostly to rock slides. The road itself is narrow, winding, and lacking barriers, meaning a slight miscalculation could send you tumbling into the abyss. Altitude sickness is another serious concern. At these heights, oxygen levels drop dramatically, making it harder to focus and react quickly. Despite these dangers, the views are spectacular, showcasing towering peaks, deep valleys, and the legendary K2. But don't let the scenery fool you. This road demands total concentration and nerves of steel. Plans to expand it from 32 to 100 feet could improve accessibility, but experts warn it may only increase the number of accidents. For now, it remains a bucket list road for the truly daring. Number 12, Siberian Road to Yakutsk, Russia. The Siberian Road to Yakutsk, also known as the A360 Lena Highway, isn't just dangerous, it's brutal, and we're not kidding at all. This unforgiving stretch is the only road leading to Yakutsk, the coldest city on Earth. And trust us, the challenges it throws at drivers are next level. For 10 months of the year, this unpaved highway is covered in ice, with temperatures plummeting so low that metal freezes to skin on contact. Simply stepping outside can be deadly. In summer, the road transforms into a muddy swamp, swallowing cars whole and stranding travelers for days. There are no gas stations, no repair shops, just endless Siberian wilderness. If you break down here, survival depends entirely on what you brought with you. The road cuts through forests, mountains, and frozen tundra, with little relief from the extreme conditions. Despite its dangers, it remains a pretty essential route. But for those unprepared, it's a one-way ticket to disaster. Number 11. 99 Bend Road to Heaven, China. How do you fit 99 hairpin turns into just 6.8 miles? You build China's 99 Bend Road to Heaven, a twisting, stomach-churning route that climbs 3,800 feet through Tianmen Mountain National Park. While the drive might look short on paper, every second is a test of nerves. This road is a driver's worst nightmare, narrow, steep, and lacking proper guardrails. A single miscalculation could send a vehicle tumbling down sheer cliffs. But the danger doesn't stop thrill seekers. Many take on the challenge just for the unreal views of the surrounding karst landscape. To make things worse, earthquakes are common in this region, adding an extra layer of unpredictability. While locals have mastered these hairpin turns, tourists often find themselves gripping the wheel in fear. If you ever attempt this drive, keep your hands steady, your focus sharp, and your nerves of steel, because one wrong move could turn this heavenly road into your final destination. Number 10. Zojila Pass, India. Nestled in the Himalayas at 11,500 feet, Zojila Pass is a lifeline between Ladakh and Kashmir, but only for those brave enough to tackle it. This 5.6-mile stretch of road is as unpredictable as it is deadly. Winter transforms Zojila into a frozen nightmare, with snowstorms burying the road for months. When the pass finally opens, it remains treacherous, narrow, uneven, and often reduced to a muddy mess by melting snow. And let's not forget the terrifying drops. One wrong turn, and you're free falling into the valley below. Yet despite its death-defying conditions, the Zojila Pass is essential for locals and traders. Indian authorities frequently clear the road, but no amount of maintenance can tame its wild, unpredictable nature. For those daring enough to make the journey, the breathtaking views of the Himalayas are a reward like no other, but only if they survive the drive. Number 9. Aloag Santo Domingo Road, Ecuador. At first glance, Aloag Santo Domingo Road might not seem terrifying. It's a busy 68-mile route linking Ecuador's mountains to its coast. But don't be fooled. This road is a death trap. In 2019 alone, there were 1,027 crashes and 67 fatalities on this highway. Why so deadly? Tight curves, sheer cliffs, and unpredictable weather. The region's frequent rainstorms trigger landslides, often burying sections of the road without warning. This highway is also a main route for commercial trucks and buses, many of which speed dangerously despite the conditions. Poor road maintenance, reckless drivers, and sudden changes in altitude only add to the chaos. For many, this road is unavoidable. It's an economic lifeline between Ecuador's capital and its port cities. But for drivers, it demands full attention, absolute patience, and a healthy fear of gravity. Because here, one bad move doesn't just mean an accident, it means a long, deadly plunge. Number 8. Canning Stock Route, Australia. Covering 1,150 miles through Western Australia's barren wilderness, the Canning Stock Route isn't just remote, it's brutally unforgiving. This desolate track takes nearly 3 weeks to complete, and if you're not prepared, it might be your last journey. Forget highways. There are no gas stations, no hospitals, and no signs of civilization for hundreds of miles. Travelers must bring their own fuel, water, spare parts, and survival gear. Without proper planning, a breakdown here could mean a slow, painful demise under the scorching Australian sun. Despite its harsh, featureless terrain, this route lures adventurers eager to test their limits. But temperatures can soar past 110 degrees Fahrenheit in summer, making it nearly impassable. Even in better seasons, deep sand, rocky paths, and unpredictable weather make progress painfully slow. Surviving the Canning Stock route is a badge of honor, but only for those smart enough to respect its dangers. Number 7. Skipper's Canyon Road, New Zealand. If a road is so dangerous that rental car insurance won't cover you, you know it's not for the faint of heart. Welcome to Skipper's Canyon Road, a winding, unpaved track carved into New Zealand's mountains over 140 years ago, and still one of the world's most perilous drives. Built by gold miners using hand tools and dynamite, this road barely fits one vehicle, yet drivers often encounter oncoming cars with nowhere to pass. In some cases, this means reversing up to 2 miles just to let someone through. And with no guardrails, every turn feels like a life-or-death decision. Despite its white-knuckle dangers, Skipper's Canyon is an undeniably breathtaking journey. The rugged cliffs, deep gorges, and cinematic landscapes have made it a filming location for blockbusters like The Lord of the Rings and Mission Impossible, Fallout. But only the boldest dare take this road, because here, one mistake could be your last one. Number 6. Highway 90, Israel. Highway 90 is both essential and infamously deadly. Built in the 1960s, this road has suffered from decades of outdated infrastructure, with narrow lanes, a lack of barriers, and poor lighting contributing to a devastating 233 fatalities and over 700 injuries since 2003. The worst stretch lies in the Judean desert, where scorching heat, reckless speeding, and sudden curves create a perfect storm for deadly crashes. In 2018 alone, 17 people lost their lives in just 2 weeks, a shocking testament to how treacherous this highway can be. Despite these dangers, Highway 90 remains a major transportation route, carrying heavy traffic daily. While efforts are being made to improve safety, the road continues to claim lives. Drivers are urged to stay alert, especially in the most perilous sections. Stunning views of the Dead Sea and Jordan Valley might tempt you to look away, but on this road, even a split second of distraction could be fatal. Number 5. Bayburtov Road, D915, Turkey. If you don't like heights or landslides, D915 in Turkey is your worst nightmare, and you can Google about it. This treacherous road cuts through the mountains of the Black Sea region, offering a ride that's both breathtaking and terrifying. What makes it so dangerous? Well, no guardrails, extreme switchbacks, and unpredictable terrain. The most infamous section, Darabusha Turns, features 13 hairpin bends stacked within just 3 miles, climbing from 5,617 to 6,677 feet with a gut-wrenching 10% incline. One wrong move here doesn't mean a fender bender, it means plunging into oblivion. Landslides are common, and in bad weather, the road turns into a muddy slip and slide. While local drivers have mastered the route, for outsiders, it's a white-knuckle experience from start to finish. Sure, the views are stunning, but if you're not paying attention, you might become part of the scenery. Drive at your own risk. Now, let's move to Number 4. North Yungas Road, Bolivia. There's a reason North Yungas Road is better known as Death Road. Plunging nearly 11,975 feet from La Paz to Coroico, This narrow, unpaved highway is carved into a sheer cliffside with no guardrails to save you if things go wrong. And things go wrong. A lot. During the 1990s, an estimated 200 to 300 people died here annually, thanks to its steep drops, fog, and constant landslides. Heavy rain turns the road into a muddy mess, making it nearly impossible to stop if your tires slip. The fusion of crumbling infrastructure and reckless drivers has cemented its reputation as one of the deadliest roads in history. Surprisingly, Bolivia built a safer alternative nearby, but Death Road is still open. Today, it attracts thrill seekers, especially cyclists looking for an extreme ride. If you're one of them, just know, one wrong turn, and you're taking a shortcut straight to the bottom. Number 3. Sichuan-Tibet Highway, China. The Sichuan-Tibet Highway isn't just dangerous, it's an endurance test. Spanning 1,330 miles, this high-altitude road snakes through the Himalayas, climbing nearly 16,404 feet above sea level at its highest point. Built in the 1950s, it remains one of China's most dangerous and remote roads. Here, rock slides and unpredictable avalanches aren't occasional, they're expected. The weather shifts from clear skies to blizzards within minutes, and oxygen levels drop dangerously low the higher you go. If you're not used to extreme altitudes, the lack of air can make even basic driving a disorienting, exhausting task. Accidents are alarmingly common, with roughly 75 out of every 1,000 travelers not making it to their destination. Yet despite its risks, the road is packed with stunning scenery, Buddhist monasteries, vast valleys, and snow-covered peaks. Just don't let the view distract you. This is a road that punishes even the smallest mistake. Number 2. Guoliang Tunnel, China. At first glance, Guoliang Tunnel looks more like a movie set than a real road. Carved by hand into a mountainside in the 1970s, this narrow tunnel in China's Taihang Mountains is both an engineering marvel and a death trap. Only one lane wide, it has no barriers, meaning even the smallest swerve could send you plummeting down the cliffs. And don't expect streetlights. The only illumination comes from 30 irregularly carved windows that let in some natural light during the day. At night, you're driving blind. Since 1992, over 400 accidents have been recorded, averaging 14 crashes and 3 deaths per year. Despite its dangers, this is the only way for the residents of Guoliang Village to reach the outside world. For outsiders, it's a once-in-a-lifetime drive, if you make it through in one piece. But we say only one thing. If you love life then, it's best to see other parts of China, like the Shanghai Museum or the Great Wall, instead of this. Number 1. Dalton Highway, Alaska. Alaska's Dalton Highway isn't just a road, it's a 415-mile test of survival. Built in 1974 to serve the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, it's one of the world's most isolated and harshest highways. With only 3 small towns along its entire length, including Deadhorse, yes, that's its real name, you'll want to make sure your vehicle is in top shape before setting out. There are no gas stations, mechanics, or even cell service for most of the journey. If you break down here, you're on your own. Icy conditions, extreme cold, and relentless snowstorms turn the road into a frozen nightmare. At times, visibility is near zero, and black ice makes every turn a gamble. Despite its dangers, it attracts truckers, adventurers, and tourists drawn to its untouched Alaskan beauty. But if you're not prepared, the Dalton Highway will chew you up and spit you out. If you found this video interesting, please like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you very soon.